Tyson, can you hear me?
I can, yes. Can you hear
Okay,
me?
good. Yep, all good. So
Perfect.
you just follow along. Liz is chairing the meeting and she'll call on you when it's time.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you.
Go. Welcome everybody to the Town of Atikokan Committee of the Whole Agenda, June 24th, 2024 at 4:30 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order. At this time, you can declare a pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof at this time or any time during the meeting. At this time, I'd like to welcome Tyson Gareau to do a delegation to the town. Welcome, Tyson.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me. I provided the township with the questions in advance, with the exception of one about manholes. So hopefully we can get some straightforward answers, as I believe these are important questions that may or may not have been addressed. Question one, was the same engineering company used for the walkway bridges as the Mercury Avenue culvert? Because I'm under the impression that we don't use them anymore. Is the report available to the public? The report from the engineer. I've requested it and have not received it yet. Recently requested, so it may just be a matter of time. I'm not pointing any fingers. How old are the walking bridges? What, if any, maintenance has been done to them? Was a repair estimate obtained? If not, why? I have asked for it as well and have not seen one. Then on the subject of the Bryan Street construction, I have concerns on that because I'm questioning, are compaction tests being done? If not, why? If so, who is monitoring these tests and can they be made public? Pictures, not just paper, because that is very easily manipulated. You can write on the paper whatever you like. Paving has been proven to be relatively unsuccessful here. Main Street and Mark Street are good examples. It's very costly to do it right. It should be monitored by someone who has the knowledge and dedication to this town to be sure the contractors are not cutting corners. Do we have such a person and how often are they there? Yeah, last question I have, and I apologize I didn't send this in, so if you don't have an answer for it, that's fine. But I'm curious too as well. Will the manholes be moved on O'Brien? Like when you go down O'Brien, especially from the four-way from Mercury down, there's manholes all over the street, and that's three-quarters of the problem. I very much appreciate the opportunity to have my concerns voiced and look forward to seeing some of these reports I requested. Thank you very much for your time.
That's all you're looking for, Tyson, is that you would like it if somebody would respond to you, to your questions. Um, Maybe not necessarily today, but to hear from someone shortly.
Well, most questions I did send them in prior to, so they should be able to be addressed today, I believe. But other than the manhole one, all those questions were sent in last week. Now, I know some things take time, but yeah, if you don't have the answers today, I would certainly like to have them because, like I said, I'm a firm believer that like if we're putting material in that doesn't pass a compaction test on O'Brien, what's the point of even paving it? Like I've done my share of this work and I've actually worked with that material, and it's beautiful pit run, but I have my doubts that it passes a compaction test, which is very important when we're paving. I mean, if we're going to pave it, we might as well make sure it's done right. If we're not going to make sure it's done right, we might as well gravel it or find another solution because we've seen in Atikokan many times that this pavement isn't holding up and it's costly to the taxpayers. But yes, sorry to get back to it. Yeah, I was just looking for answers to those questions.
Thank you, Tyson. Do you have anything to say, Tyler or Jason, at this point, or you will address it with?
Yeah, it's my understanding these are delegations to council, so I have no comment unless you guys have specific questions for me about this.
My question to you, Tyler, would be, are you going to be trying to answer these questions to the best of your ability? That's not the only thing I have. Like, Tyson, you do realize that a lot of things were discussed at the Committee of the Whole on May 27th. Have you had a chance to go onto YouTube or to our website and take a look at the minutes?
No, I apologize, I haven't. That's why I said that they may or may not have been addressed. Like the questions I'm asking right now, but
Okay, thank you, Tyson. I would encourage you to also make sure that you do go check out the website and check out the YouTube too, and see what's available on there as well. I know some people find it difficult to maneuver, but just reach out for assistance and they can help you to work through it.
okay, I wasn't aware that it's actually on YouTube. I've tried a few times on the Atikokan website and had great difficulties getting to anything. So I'll try YouTube.
I've been doing this for a few years and I have to ask for help as well, so don't be afraid to ask for help.
Okay.
Jason? Okay. Tyson, hopefully we can get some answers from you and get a response to you. I'm not going to commit to any time frame or anything like that, but I do appreciate you coming forward with your concerns, and hopefully we can take a look at this.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tyson.
You
Enjoy
guys have
your
a good
day.
evening. You too. Bye now.
Bye-bye. Okay, moving on. Finance, department update, report to council. I'll turn that over to Brandy.
Okay, so you all have my report. Basically, it's same old thing. We have been selected to be audited by the Canada Community Building Fund, which is federal gas tax, and I can't stop calling it federal gas tax, but so that's something new. I've uploaded most of the documents. I think I have one more set to do and then answer a bunch of questions, and that should be done. If anybody, I listed the current grants we have going just because we haven't talked about specific grants for a while. So if anybody has any questions about the report itself, and then we can go on to the financials.
Does anyone have any questions before I ask mine? Councillor Zacharias.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. I don't know. I'm just wondering if you have like an expected date of finish for the year ends that you're working on, the backlog.
Well, 2021, we're hoping to be done shortly. We have to also coordinate with the auditors because we're not the only ones behind. So, and they have several other customers that are behind as well. So they're trying to juggle, trying to keep their current people up to date while also trying to create time for those of us that are behind. But they're hoping to be able to actually come down, and a lot more work gets done a lot quicker when they can physically come down. So we're hoping that will work out. I just haven't reached out because this is generally their busy time too, but assuming it should start slowing down. So 2021, I don't expect to take too much longer. And then again, it depends on their schedule, our schedule, and then the others, I don't know yet.
Like within the year or just...
Yes.
Okay.
That's the plan, yeah.
Okay.
The only difficult part is we've got two other big projects going on, the asset management plan and the pay equity plan, which both are going to take a lot of time. So trying to maneuver that is going to be the biggest challenge.
Thank you.
Councillor Johnson?
It was discussed some time ago that we should hire some help for Brandy to get the year ends that we are behind up and ready to go sooner than later. And I was wondering if are we contemplating that again, or doesn't seem like we're just treading water.
I did reach out to a former treasurer, and that didn't work out. The difficult part is, short of finding somebody that's already trained, I'm not sure how helpful it'll be. So, because we don't even have our current staff fully trained, so, and we struggle trying to find time to do that. So, and I had also reached out to the auditors to see if they had anybody, you know, from a different department or a different, that could help. And ideally, somebody that knew our software, because our software is specialized. It's not something that your average Joe is gonna know, and it's not the easiest to work with. So far, no luck with that. I'm not really sure what the answer is, because just hiring somebody off the street is gonna cause a further delay than it would help.
Yes, Jake.
Yeah, further point, like, as Brandy said, so, I mean, we're actively looking, we have been looking, and as she said, we have been unsuccessful. So, you know, we're trying to find the right fit who can come in and help move things along versus kind of being a hindrance, right? So the search will continue for sure.
Thank you, Jason. Brandy, have you reached out to another municipality that perhaps uses the same software as us?
Well, this isn't just an Atikokan problem. This is like just in our area alone. Nipigon and Ignis are a year behind us, and Manitouwadge, I think, is on 2021, just like us. So it's harder for, it's the smaller towns that struggle because you don't have the resources, right? So we're all in the same boat. Like, it's not, this isn't specific to Atikokan. This is, and it's not even just specific to municipalities. Like, the auditors called it the COVID hangover because they have several clients that are having this issue. But the smaller municipalities struggle more because of the specialized software, the challenges with resources and that sort of thing. So I can't imagine that I'd be able to find help when a lot of them are just as behind as we are.
Would a different type of program be more beneficial, easier to train on to help you in this process? Or is that something you're looking at in the asset management, maybe perhaps an IT item?
Asset management is completely different software, but our accounting software, yeah, it's not something you can just change. It's specialized for taxes and this special needs that municipalities have. And there aren't many software packages out there for municipalities, and they're very expensive, and converting is a nightmare. So it's not something you just do. I would never even attempt to change software until we were caught up, because all it would do is put us back more years.
So because we're so far behind in our financial audits, how do we get the information that you have to submit for the FIR, the financial information return? Because it states there it should reflect audited.
Yeah, so we do that at the same time as the audit, as the financial statements.
So then we're behind in that as well.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? So does anybody have any other questions before I move on to, unless I've overstepped what I can ask? My next questions were in regards to the asset management plan. I thank you for your response when I had asked for that to be put on the agenda. As we all know, hopefully some of the newer counselors have been reviewing their asset management plan. As we know, we have to have a 10-year plan by July 1st, 2025. And it's a lot of the responsibility does fall on the departments, but some of the responsibility is also on council for how we perceive things. Are we going, I would like to see us review the last one and not leave it that we're just coming at the last 3 months before it's due and saying, okay, well, we have to get it in, let's just approve it. That's my concern.
Well, there's not much information council's gonna have for the asset, like it's all data that, mainly financial data and costs and service. None of that information council will have, you know, so basically this is just an update. We've been doing regular updates for years now, so it's just certain requirements are due this year and then certain requirements are due next year kind of thing. So, I mean, the current asset management plan is on the website.
Right.
It's supposed to be a living document that you would change all the time. Generally, we only change it when we need to update to the requirements to be in compliance.
But in 2025, we're supposed to have a 10-year plan.
Yeah, so, and we currently have plans in our current asset management plan. And there's different scenarios where they have 5, 10, 20. So that won't be a problem.
My question then to you and then to the other departments are we taking at the department head's word that what is deemed important to them is going to be deemed important by council? I'm just going to throw this out. And it states in there that you should be taking a look, an example, the Tourism Bureau. Wonderful that we're going to be having a volunteer group organizing it. But in 10 years, what kind of work is going to be needed and kind of money is going to be needed for that facility? Is that still an asset that we're going to require in 10 years?
Well, those little details won't be in the asset management plan. They would be more in our capital plan. The asset management plan is more of a higher level overview. Like it'll have, like our current plan has all the buildings all together. It doesn't identify each individual building, and it doesn't really say what we're going to do with it in the future, but it shows our future financial needs for those facilities. It doesn't talk about changes to operations or anything like that, but that's where your long-term capital plan would come in.
Right. But it's not only the department heads that determine your level of service as well, right?
No, but the current asset management plan is our current level of service, not projected or not future plans. It's what is the current level of service.
So are you predicting that by July 1st, 2025, it's just going to remain the same with, other than the financial things? I know it's a hard question to answer. I guess that's my question. I don't know if it's a Jason question or it's just, I don't want to be a counselor that's going to say, sign on the dotted line.
Well, you will get a draft of it before it goes, but those sorts of questions won't be part of it. Those are more of the long-term capital plan questions and operational plans, changes to service or what capital purchases we're going to do.
Thank you, Jason. Go ahead.
I think your question will be better answered when we do conduct a service delivery review. So outside of the asset management plan, when we do a service delivery review, that's the conversation between elected officials, administration, the community as a whole, right? So we start looking at levels of service and what we see in the future. So that will be happening actually within this year. Yeah.
Perfect. That's the answer I was looking for. Thank you very much, Brandy. Any other questions? Okay, moving on. Item number 2, the agreement with the AMO, Canada Community Building Fund.
Okay, we kind of skipped over the financials.
Oh, sorry.
So the capital projects are mostly in progress. There's only a couple that are complete. And so far, obviously, because they're just starting, most of them are on budget, except for patching, or crack sealing, sorry, went a little bit over budget. But if anybody has any questions about the first document? Okay, moving on to the second is just May's revenues and expenses. If anybody has any questions about that.
Hearing none, we'll move on to the second item this time, report to council.
Okay, so the Canada Community Building Fund, which I have still struggle saying, which is formerly the federal gas tax, are renewing the agreement from 2024 to 2028. And my report outlines some of the things that we've spent past money on, some of the eligible projects that you can use the funding on, and obviously this year we are using it on Mercury Culvert. So the agreement will be going to the council meeting.
Any questions from anyone? Thank you, Brandy. Moving on to item C, Public Works, Maple Crescent Pedestrian Bridge Replacement, report to council. Tyler?
Yeah, so reporting for any for the bridges. We finished up our tender period. We found a bridge. Happy to say it came in under budget. So we'll like to execute that agreement and start moving forward, unless anybody's got some questions.
Is there any questions from anybody? Jason?
Tyler, just maybe explain timelines and your recommendation on the bridge.
Sure. So we're looking, as you guys can tell from the report, it's about, I think they said about 4 weeks here after shop drawings are approved, if we go with Pete's Backhoe, because they'll be getting it pre-manufactured by just a large-scale bridge manufacturer. That's all that they do is build bridges, so they hammer them out pretty quick. We thought that was pretty good. Traman was saying they'd probably be, I think it was 12 to 16 weeks. I'd have to double check the number there, but it's in the report. We decided to go with the weathering steel. It's sort of the best option that we could get. It's supposed to be a bit more robust than painted steel. It's supposed to get a little bit more life out of it. So the way that it works, basically it flash rusts once it gets installed, and then that rust actually prohibits it. I guess rust isn't the right word. They call it a patina, but kind of same thing. It looks rusty, and then that will basically flash off, and it prevents any further rust after that. So,
Any other questions? Oh, Councillor Zacharias.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, so 4 weeks for fabrication. Do we have an estimated time of installation?
we're hoping to get it done kind of like late in the summer.
Okay.
So it all kind of depends how quick we can give them the approvals to go, and then what their shop drawing process is going to look like.
Okay. And then did we get references for Pete's Backhoe? Have we worked with them before?
We had references from them actually for the Mercury Culvert job already, so they're a pretty well-known company. The name's actually quite deceiving. When you pull up Pete's Backhoe online, last time I looked at it, the first picture you saw was like 30 or 40 tandems all lined up like same color scheme, so at the very least it should probably be Pete's Backhoes, but yeah.
Good.
Who you have?
Councillor Knowles?
Worked with them too, apparently, so.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We had talked about also remediating the site of the other bridge so that in future years, if we want to drop a bridge in there, it was possible to do. Is that part of it, especially now that it looks like we might have a little bit of wiggle space, given the fact that these bids were under what we kind of anticipated.
Yeah, so we were taking the old bridge out for Legion Point, and we were leaving the abutments there. So everything is still in place to drop a bridge on. There isn't a whole lot more remediation.
Okay, so it would be up to code and everything to just put a new bridge on top of those abutments and wouldn't affect anything?
Yeah, it's the same thing that we're doing on Maple, right? We're keeping the abutments because they're still in good shape, and we're just putting a new bridge on top of them. So it would be the same thing, just in a multi-year process, I guess.
Okay, great, thank you.
I do have one thing to say, Tyler. This is a very informative report. Like, it was very well put in, not too many questions I had after that, because there was a lot of the answers were right in there, so it was great to see something like that.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Councillor Johnson?
Tyler, does this include installation too?
Oh yeah, yeah, this is everything. This is removal, install, supply, everything. And then we'll also be putting up a row of guide rails basically at the end of, I guess it would be Main Street by the museum where the old bridge was, just since there isn't kind of as clear of an indicator that there's, you know, a bridge crossing now. So we just put up a couple steel beam guide rails just so that people get the idea to turn.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Oh, Councillor Zacharias?
Sorry, just want clarification. This quote is for the removal of both the bridges and then the installation of just the one bridge from the library to Maple.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Any other questions? Oh, sorry. Sue?
Thank you, Chair. If council's in agreement, we can amend the council agenda for after this, and we can award the contract to Pete's Backhoe, if you're all in agreement.
Anybody not agree? Looks good. Item number 2, LED upgrades. Report to council on the streetlights for 2024. Tyler?
So same thing again, just kind of closing the loop on a few of these projects. So we got the design completed for this year's changes. We got Hydro to price them as well as Realterm, because Hydro used to kind of always be our supplier. And then we started using Realterm because they do our design, and we're partnered with them through LAS, so we typically get pretty good pricing. But we thought we'd hold their feet to the fire. This year they still came in significantly cheaper than what Hydro was able to do. So I'm recommending to go with them again, and then Hydro will begin the installs as they can.
Thank you, Tyler. Any questions from anyone? Councillor Zacharias?
Sorry, again, just clarification. So the quote for the Hydro would be if we were purchasing them from Hydro and they were installing them?
No, the quote from Hydro is just for the supply.
Just for the supply?
Hydro always does our installs. That's
okay.
That's just standard. So both of these quotes are just to actually get the 69 fixtures to Atikokan for install.
Just the fixtures, okay.
Which is why we usually shoot for around that $25,000 worth of lights, because it's usually a little bit more than Hydro can get done in a year.
Mm-hmm.
And at least we work up to the 50, and then they just kind of start over next year with whatever's left.
Perfect, thank you.
Any other questions? Sue?
Thank you, Chair. So is council in agreement to do Realterm Energy? Because if you are, we can also amend the agenda to add that to the next council meeting after this one.
No one's opposed?
Thank you.
Hearing no other business, we will move on into an in-camera discussion. Yep, I don't think I missed anything else. Moved by Councillor Gord Knoll, seconded by Jim Johnson. Resolved that this council committee proceed in camera to address a matter pertaining to a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board. All in favor?